All right. It is November 8th, 2024, and Bitcoin is just over $76,000 after breaking multiple all-time highs this week, um, following the election. So I wanted to make this video because I think Bitcoin is about to go parabolic. I've already seen some, pretty solid appreciation, but I just wanted to make this video because I just think because due to the supply and demand factors that we have today, we are in fact due for a parabolic increase in the price of Bitcoin and just a repricing in general. So let's jump on into it. One of the first reasons I think that this is going to happen, that Bitcoin is going to go parabolic, is because of the Bitcoin halving cycle every 4 years. I've marked these halving cycles with this blue line right here. So you could see here in 2012, we had the first Bitcoin halving. Bitcoin price was $12. Towards the end of the cycle there, we capped out just over $1,000 before crashing down. 4 years later, we had in 2016, the next halving, where the price was around $700, maybe a little less than that. Then by the end of that cycle, I think we hit around 20K, something like that, before crashing down. And we're going to go to the next one. This is 2020. This is in May. Of course, that was a pretty wild year, especially just a few months before. And the Bitcoin price was around 8 to 9,000 after dropping, I think, to 3,800 in March of 2020. And we hit a high that cycle of around 69,000 before crashing down to, I think, around 15,500 down here in 2022. Now, the next halving, April 2024, Bitcoin price was, I think, around 60 something, maybe 62, 64K. Let's take a look here. Yep, this is saying around 63, 64K. So if you zoom out and ignore everything else, you will notice that price at every halving is a lot higher. And this is due to the supply dynamics of Bitcoin. Every 4 years of halving decreases the amount of new supply by 50%. And this takes some time for the market to adjust to this new reality. And what happens is we end up seeing a parabolic surge in the price of Bitcoin. So one of the first reasons is just that this is what we tend to see historically. Of course, it's not guaranteed, but this has been working so far, and it just makes sense that if the new incoming supply is decreased by 50% and demand remains constant at the very least, we will see a general uptrend in the price. So that's just the first thing, is the cyclical nature of Bitcoin. And I want to move next to demand. So we can begin with this post from Cointelegraph just in. BlackRock's IBIT bought over $1 billion of Bitcoin for the first time ever on November 7th. So this is a record. $1 billion in a day for Bitcoin purchasing through the IBIT ETF is just absolutely bananas. This is ridiculous demand that we're seeing here. And again, this is after the halving, so the new issuance of Bitcoin is cut in half, and you compare that with this increase in demand from these big players who probably are not going to sell anytime soon. These institutional investors want their allocation. BlackRock is recommending an allocation to Bitcoin due to the fact that it's not dependent on any one country or currency. And this narrative is just going to continue. And BlackRock does fantastic marketing for Bitcoin. Larry Fink is the Bitcoin Employee of the Year. And Bitcoin's price increasing is also the best marketing for Bitcoin. But the fact that these players are now, in this space, they're just going to absorb all of the Bitcoin really over time. I think they already have well over 400,000. I haven't even looked this week. I'm sure it's way higher than that. And these people are just going to keep hoovering up Bitcoin. And if you don't get it, then they will. Their clients will get all of it. Well, not all of it, because you also have MicroStrategy announces $42 billion Bitcoin investment plan. Sometimes I read these articles and I just try to take a step back. If this was in 2020, 2017, we see these types of articles now and are almost numb to what we're seeing. Look at this article title. BlackRock's IVIT bought over $1 billion of Bitcoin in a day. MicroStrategy announces $42 billion Bitcoin investment plan. This is over the next 3 years. MicroStrategy has been swallowing up Bitcoin like it's its job. I think they have well over 250,000. They're sitting on, it's got to be almost $20 billion of Bitcoin at this point, probably 17 billion. And they're not going to stop purchasing Bitcoin. Michael Saylor is just completely just he's just gone mad for Bitcoin, really. Something happened to the man, and he's just not going to stop. He's going to accumulate as much as possible. They are basically creating leverage by tapping into the convertible bond market. Over time, they'll explore the fixed income market. They'll look at issuing preferred shares, things that are in essence a swap. So you have BlackRock buying $1 billion of Bitcoin a day. You have MicroStrategy with a plan to acquire $42 billion in Bitcoin over the next 3 years. We also have a potential US strategic Bitcoin reserve under the next president, Donald Trump. And this would mean the US would obtain, I think it's 1 million Bitcoin over the next 5 years, if I'm not mistaken. The Bitcoin Act, introduced by US Senator Cynthia Lummis this year, calls for the creation of a strategic Bitcoin reserve to reduce the US's spiraling near $36 trillion, wow, national debt by buying 1 million Bitcoin over 5 years. The US currently holds just over 200,000 Bitcoin, worth around $15 billion, making it the world's largest government holder of Bitcoin, with China a close second. So let me get this straight. You have the world's largest asset manager buying $1 billion of Bitcoin a day. You have MicroStrategy with a plan to buy $42 billion in Bitcoin over the next 3 years. And over the next 5 years, we have a potential for the US to buy 1 million Bitcoin over the next 5 years. How much Bitcoin is being produced? So this is the demand side of the equation. This ignores retail. This ignores most other countries. This is just the low-hanging fruit of what we see, headlines on every day. This is what we see. This is what is known. We don't know what we don't know. We don't know who else is buying. We don't know what other countries are buying. This is the demand side of the equation. Now, we can look at the supply side of the equation through the Clark-Moody dashboard. So Bitcoin has a $1.5 trillion market cap, and 94% of the Bitcoin has already been issued, and we only have about 6% left to be mined. To get a little better visual on this, we can go to CoinMarketCap, go to Bitcoin number one, of course, circulating supply. So 21 million max, we're at about 19,780,000. Not much Bitcoin left. Definitely not enough to satisfy all of this demand, at least at this price. Most people who hold Bitcoin are not going to sell it for a long time. Most people who have it are pretty, you know, almost religious about not selling it. They don't see the point in trading it. This is just something you hold and let, these guys do the work for you. This is all the demand that you need. There's more coming, and there's just not that much supply of Bitcoin. I think the issuance of Bitcoin is about 450 a day, and these entities are buying way more than that. I think they bought, well, IBIT yesterday bought something like 17,000 yesterday, maybe 14 and a half. Either way, this is, I'm not sure what else has to happen before people get the picture and the direction of where things are going. I look at these headlines, I look at these numbers, I look at the supply remaining, and I just don't see any other conclusion that we are left to draw here. I mean, it's going to go parabolic because these players are just going to buy and buy and buy, and people are not going to sell it. I don't think IBIT's going to sell it soon. I don't think MicroStrategy is buying all this Bitcoin to sell it in 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 10 years. They might not ever sell it. Doesn't sound like he's the type of person to sell. So just wanted to give everyone an update on what is happening and to keep a close eye out in the coming weeks, months, particularly through all of the next year, and see how these things play out. If you guys like the content, please subscribe and give the video a thumbs up, and I'll be sure to talk to you guys soon. Thank you.